Welcome to this brief introduction about OSCOLA referencing. In this video, we will cover what referencing is and why you need to do it, what OSCOLA referencing is, how to reference UK cases with neutral citations and how to reference UK cases without neutral citations, reference UK primary legislation, reference EU legislation, referencing secondary sources, including books, websites, journals, and basic principles, and how to make footnotes using Word. Referencing is an integral part of academic writing. We need to do it because it pinpoints where you found information from. It shows your tutor that you've done research and that you've done it well, and it helps them to identify your own opinion amongst the reference work. Importantly, it gives credit to the sources that have inspired your ideas and demonstrates that you have understood the breadth of research available on the topic that you are writing about, and that you're not pulling ideas out of thin air. It's also important for the avoidance of plagiarism and in order to comply with academic integrity. OSCOLA is a law-specific style of referencing. It stands for Oxford Standard Citation of Legal Authorities. One of the most important rules in OSCOLA referencing is to be clear and consistent. There is only one official version of OSCOLA referencing. A feature unique to OSCOLA is that it uses as little punctuation as it possibly can. But it's important to note that OSCOLA is not a fully comprehensive guide. There are some resources that OSCOLA doesn't have specific rules to reference, like many other referencing styles do. OSCOLA is intended to make referencing legal resources easier, which in some referencing styles is quite difficult beyond basic referencing to legislation. However, it doesn't evolve as quickly as other referencing styles, meaning that some secondary sources or new types of secondary sources may not have any specific guidance of what to do. OSCOLA uses numbers to pinpoint in your work where a source was used. These numbers point to a footnote at the end of each page. Bibliographies or reference lists are also provided at the end of your work to list all of the sources that you've used. The formatting rules of footnotes and bibliographies are subtly different, so you need to be careful when writing your references. OSCOLA also allows you to use things called Latin gadgets, which are abbreviations in some situations to make your referencing easier and quicker. Neutral citations identify judgments independent of any law reports. They were introduced for some courts in 2001. This means anything before 2001 does not have a neutral citation. It was extended to all divisions of the High Court in 2002 and later tribunals and commissions too. They are intended to make it easier for you to find judgments online. Transcripts of cases with neutral citations can be found on the British and Irish Legal Information Institute website. Cases are numbered consecutively throughout the year, and all cases with neutral citations will have numbered paragraphs. They contain the year of the judgment, the court, and the judgment number. The court is not included in brackets at the end of the neutral citation because the neutral citation itself identifies the appropriate court. However, neutral citations from the High Court do include the division in brackets after the judgment number. Any UK case after 2001 should include a neutral citation. These are the details that you will need to include, plus the formatting requirements. Remember when looking at these slides throughout the video that the vertical line is to illustrate spaces and should not be included in your references. The case name is shown as in italics. This is made up of the party names separated by a lowercase, unpunctuated v. This is then followed up with the neutral citation, which includes the year in square brackets, the court, and the number, shown on the screen in green. If the judgment you are referencing has not been reported in a law report, give only the neutral citation. However, if it has subsequently been published in a law report, you add the details of the best report as befits your research, separating it from the neutral citation with a comma shown on the screen in orange. This includes the year, either in round or square brackets, the volume, the report abbreviation, and the first page. Remember that OSCOLA footnotes end with a full stop. If you are unsure about which style of brackets to use for the report year, ask yourself if the report can be located without the year. If you can locate the report without the year, you can use round brackets. The example given here indicates that this case involves the parties Lucasfilm versus Ainsworth. You can see from the neutral citation information in green that this is the 39th judgment issued by the UK Supreme Court in 2011. You can then see that the report citation information in orange. This shows that the report of the judgment can be found in Volume 1 of the 2012 series of reports called Appeal Cases, beginning at page 208. For any report before 2001, there may not be a neutral citation. So in this case, you just use the report citation and the court. The parts required to make up this citation are the case name. Again, these are adverse parties separated by the same lowercase unpunctuated v in italics. You then go straight to the report citation information, which is shown here in orange. It consists of the year in square or round brackets, the volume, the report abbreviation, and the first page. You follow this with the abbreviation for the court in round brackets, as shown in blue. If you do not know whether to use round or square brackets, remember to ask yourself the same question we saw on the previous slide. Can I find this report without the year? If you can find the report without the year, you can use round brackets. The example here tells us that there was a case between Page and Smith, and that the report can be found in the 1996 Appeal Cases Law Report, with the first page being 155. The court that dealt with this case was the House of Lords. When the law report citation ends with the court in brackets and you wish to pinpoint a specific page, the pinpoint follows the court and is not separated by any punctuation. You can use the short form of this in your footnotes, but you must have referred to it elsewhere in the footnotes in full. When referring to the short form, use the first party name in italics, followed by a bracket, and then N, and the number of the previous footnote, closing the brackets and ending this with a full stop. When you refer to this in your bibliography, you must remove the italics from the party names, and it does not need to end with a full stop. You should always cite the most authoritative law report series which is reported on the case. Here is the commonly recognised order of authority, with the most authoritative reports series first. Law reports are considered the most authoritative because they have been approved by a judge. They are divided into appeal cases, AC, Queen's Bench, QB, Chancery Division, CH, and Family Division, FAM. Next would be the weekly law reports, or the All England reports. They are abbreviated as WLR for weekly reports and All ER for All England reports. You then get your specialist report series, such as LICR for Lloyd's Industry or Case Reports, MED-LR for Medical Law Reports, and CR-AP-R for the Criminal Appeal Reports. There are other specialist reports than the examples shown here. After law reports, you have journals and newspapers. But remember that journals and newspapers are all summaries of reports and should only be cited if the decision is not available in a long report series. To check the abbreviation for a law report, you can use the link on the OSCOLA LibGuide. From here, you can check the title to see what it should be abbreviated as, or you can check the abbreviation to find out what it stands for. When referencing UK primary legislation, if you wish to refer to the whole Act or statute, the only details that we need are the short title of the Act and the year it was enacted. The example on the screen shows the reference for the Finance Act 2015. When referring to this in our work, this information is formatted differently depending on how we are using it. In our footnotes, there is no change from the previous slide. When pinpointing, we add the section after the date. When using the short form, we've abbreviated the name of the Act, and in the bibliography, the only change is that the punctuation has been removed. When you are using the short form of an Act, make sure you have told the reader what it stands for. So the first time that you refer to the Act, include the abbreviation in the footnote. You can see the example here where I have the regular footnote and the short form in brackets indicating that I'm going to use the short form later in my work. A statutory instrument is a document that a government minister or authority uses to make detailed rules and regulations that are needed to implement or enforce primary legislation. These rules can be about various things, such as setting speed limits on roads, specifying safety standards for products, or determining eligibility criteria for government benefits. For the whole resource, we need the title, the year, statutory instrument, year, and number. When pinpointing within the statutory instrument, there are a few abbreviations that we may need to use. We have reg for regulations, R for rules, and art for articles. Again, depending on where it appears in my work, means that the statutory instrument may be set out slightly differently. As before, when using the short form, make sure that you have told the reader what it stands for, and include the short form in the footnote the first time you talk about it. For EU legislation, we need to provide some additional details, as EU law is structured slightly differently to UK law. Secondary sources can refer to anything that is not a case or primary legislation. As we mentioned earlier in the video, OSCOLA doesn't adapt to changes in material as quickly as other referencing styles, so you may not find guidance that is specifically about the resource type you are using. As such, when in doubt, you should use the OSCOLA basic principles to reference your sources. For print books and ebooks, where the ebook matches the print page numbers, we need to gather the author's name, the title, edition if applicable, name of the publishing company, and year of publication. Check Cite Them Right online for guidance on what to do if an ebook does not have page numbers, for example, a Kindle ebook. You should only include the edition number if it is for the second edition of the book or higher. For journals, we need to know the author's name, the title of the article, the year of publication, volume, issue or part number, the name of the journal or its appropriate abbreviation if it has been abbreviated in OSCOLA, and the first page of the article. Similarly, for e-journals, in place of the first page of the article, we provide a URL link with an access date stating when we first accessed that resource for this assignment. Use the more than and less than symbols around your URL link. Similarly, for websites, we need the author's name, the name of the page that we used on the website, the website title, date, URL, and access date. As a reminder, Basic Principles is used to reference any material that doesn't fall under a named category. You can find out the basic principles on the OSCOLA guidance on Cite Them Right online. In our work, using OSCOLA, references occur in 3 different places. They appear in the body of your work with the numerical reference number. They appear as a footnote at the bottom of each page explaining the numerical reference. And they appear at the end of your essay. And they appear at the end of your work in your reference list or bibliography. Your reference list should be arranged alphabetically by author surname or by organisational name where an organisational author has been used instead. It's important to remember that the footnote rules are different to that of the reference list rules, and it's important that you pay attention to the guidance on Cite Them Right online to ensure that this is adhered to. Your footnotes are arranged in the order that they appear in your work. There will now be a quick demonstration of how to add footnotes using Microsoft Word. Choose where you want your footnote to appear. Navigate to the References tab of Microsoft Word and choose Insert Footnote. Word will generate the line at the bottom of the page and the cut-off where your work will stop. Thank you for watching this video about OSCOLA referencing. If you need any help, refer to Cite Them Right online, which is where you will find all referencing guidance for OSCOLA. Alternatively, you can ask for help from the Library and Academic Skills team by contacting us on academicskills@staffs.ac.uk.